Kyrie Irving tries to poach LeBron James to go to the Dallas Mavericks. USC football is cleaning up in football recruiting. And it's not just an offensive skill. And Bobby Miller is making believers out of everyone in the Dodgers clubhouse. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. It is June 6, 2023. Once again, we have added subscribers to the Angelino Familia. Thank you to everybody who gets in on the ground floor. We are trying to build something for LA sports. If you like being in the know about LA sports, click the like button. Click the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And yes, comment, because there's always amazing stuff going on in LA sports. So before we go through the news and notes, quick look at the scoreboard. Yesterday, on the scoreboard, no games. But today, the Dodgers are at Cincinnati at 4. Tony Gonsolin is 3-1 with a 1.77 ERA. Luke Weaver is 1-2 with a 5.36 ERA. The Sparks are at Seattle at 7 o'clock. LA could continue its climb to relevance again in the WNBA. The Storm is winless so far this year. But I can't wait to talk about the Lakers. Let's get to it. Because the primary purpose of this show, it's not about me trying to be an influencer. Look at me. Do you really think anybody looks at me and says, Instagram model? Of course not. This show is for me to celebrate LA sports. I lived in LA for a good chunk of my life, but I travel a lot now. And so no matter where I go, this is about staying faithful and being in the know about the teams I love. But there is a secondary purpose to this program, a secondary one. It's to illustrate just how full of crap so many sports writers, so many pundits, so many bloggers actually are. They're idiots, uninformed, short attention span, having attention-seeking whores. Straight up. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. I don't care if it's Skip Bayless or Billy Basement blogger sponging off his mom. It's leakage. It's sports syphilis. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. We deal in reality here. So when Kyrie Irving started showing up to Lakers games, they all of them were breathless. They were orgasmic in their delight. This proves Kyrie Irving always wanted to be a Laker. He's going to be a free agent. He wants to play with LeBron again. He wants to see if the Lakers can fit him under the salary cap. Completely wrong. 100%. This was like they were as wrong and as screwed up as Joe Biden trying to keep his balance when he walks up a flight of stairs. That's how stupid it was. It's the exact opposite. Kyrie Irving didn't want to come to the Lakers. He was trying to get LeBron James to go to Dallas. It's the exact opposite, you idiots. This is according to Shams Charania, an actual reporter, I might add. Shams Charania of The Athletic. Yes, Kyrie Irving is going to be a free agent. But this was actually kind of like how Kawhi Leonard only would come to the Clippers if they could manage to poach Paul George. Now, why would Irving pitch James into moving to Texas? Why? Because Irving knows that if he becomes an unrestricted free agent, the team outside of Dallas can't give him as good of a contract as the Dallas Mavericks can. Dallas can give him the biggest contract. So he doesn't want to take a discount, not one penny. But he wants basically two things at once. He wants the bag, he wants to win the title. But can Dallas do that? Remember, in order for the Lakers to allegedly sign Irving, those same hype spewers were telling us about sign and trade rumors. Oh yeah, you could possibly do it if you use D'Angelo Russell and send him to Dallas in a sign and trade. Do the Mavericks, which of course the Mavericks wouldn't want to do, but do the Mavericks have the assets that the Lakers would want in a sign and trade? No. They don't. The Mavericks have the number 10 overall draft pick this year. That is true. But they sent away a lot of first-round draft picks and second-round draft picks, I might add. First, in order to trade for Kyrie Irving. And if you remember, a few years ago, they sent away even more draft picks to get Kristaps Porzingis. Remember him? Does anybody remember Kristaps Porzingis? Last time anybody saw him, he was an assistant manager at a Whataburger. So you're going to trade the top scorer. So you're trying to tell us that the Lakers will trade the top scorer in NBA history for the number 10 pick and a few randos to make the cash balance out. Stop it. Why would the Lakers do that? Especially for Mark Cuban, a known Lakers hater. Why would he do that? And who thinks the Mavericks, there's only one player that the Lakers would actually want on that roster. It's Luka Doncic. And who does Dallas want to trade Luka Doncic to LA even for LeBron James? Of course not. Of course not. Keep in mind, the Mavericks didn't even qualify for the play-in round. The Lakers got to the Western Conference Finals. So hear this loud and clear. The bloggers and the pundits, they are all a bunch of damn fools. All of them. And as a bonus take, Irving begging for James to go to Dallas is a sign of how weak Dallas is. Not a sign of how weak LA is, how weak Dallas is. Irving is a free agent. If he doesn't land LeBron James and he decides to leave Texas, Dallas is toast. Straight up. USC hosted a weekend for recruits for the class of 2024, and I got to tell you, it must have been a hell of a party because the Trojans have landed 2 of the top 100 recruits in the country since then. 5 major recruits overall in just 2 days. Even better, none of them were offensive skill players. See, we've been talking about USC's recruiting. We've been talking about how we know they can get wide receivers. We know they can get quarterbacks and running backs. But until they decide to go defense, it's all for naught. So we knew this. SC now is trying to build a defense because the recruiting class of 2024, they added 2 top 100 players. Both of them played defense. They added edge rusher Cameron Fountain from Booker T. Washington High School in Atlanta. He is the 6th ranked edge rusher for 2024, and he's in the top 50 overall. 6'5", 237 pounds. And then they also picked up cornerback Dakota Fields, the 78th ranked prospect from the nation, from Sarah High. USC also added to its offensive line. They got the 12th ranked tackle in the country, Manasseh Itete of Central Catholic High in Modesto. And if I mispronounced his name, I apologize. He's 6'5", 290 pounds. Itete is the 2nd offensive lineman to commit to USC in the class of 2024. So it's not just offensive skill. It's not just let's light up the sky with as many points as possible and hope our defense doesn't completely let the floodgates open. Keep in mind, it wasn't that long ago when all of us, myself included, wanted to storm Heritage Hall to get Alex Grinch's head on a pike. So again, I ask you guys, because they seem to be solving at least defensive talent, I ask you guys, what was in the fruit punch bowl at that party at SC? And what games were played? Because if it wasn't pin the tail on the donkey, who was getting their tail pinned? Anybody want to know? Hell of a party, SC. Gotta say. Some stats are extremely awkward to read in a blog. They don't come through that well. But trust me, the stat I'm going to read to you is impressive. Bobby Miller is the first Dodgers pitcher since 1901, where in his first 3 career appearances, he went at least 6 innings and allowed only 1 hit. Put simpler, the 1 hit allowed to the Yankees in Sunday's game is the norm for Bobby Miller so far. That wasn't an outlier, it's the norm. The top pitching prospect in the Dodger system has a 1.06 ERA. Dave Roberts raving about him. Catcher Will Smith, likewise. So here's the point. When Julio Urias comes back, presumably later this week, LA has a question to answer. Who loses the spot in the rotation? Who? Is it Miller? because he's a rookie. Is it rookie Michael Grove? He's been pretty good, but does he lose his spot? What about Noah Syndergaard? True, he's been absolutely awful, no doubt about it, but he was signed as a stopgap to give Miller and Grove more time to develop in the minors. So the question is Miller or Grove ready to stay? The Dodgers bullpen, meanwhile, is a mess, but not everyone is contributing to said suckage. The LA Times asked how a bullpen that had the second best ERA in the majors last year could now be at 26. The paper has identified 4 culprits. 4. You have Phil Bickford, who was placed on the injured list Saturday, but he has an ERA of 7.33. Hoy. Andre Jackson, even worse, 7.98 ERA with 5 home runs allowed in 6 games. Alex Vesia, 7.62 ERA among this motley crew. Among this group, Yency Almonte is a veritable Eric Gagne by comparison, and his RA is 6.75. They are allowing runs in bunches. Now, I don't want to be too hard on Almonte because he hasn't allowed runs in 6 consecutive scoreless innings, which means his ERA was even worse, but they'll drop that for now. You get the point. Bickford, Jackson, Vesia are like a Bermuda Triangle where Dodger wins vanish, presumably devoured by the Meg or something. The odd courtship of Luke Williams and the Dodgers has finally reached a conclusion. He was picked up by Atlanta after LA put him on waivers. And Williams had a weird career arc. LA took him off of waivers from the Marlins last winter. Then they cut him. Then they bring him back for spring training. They give him 10 days in the show where he goes 1 for 10, and Andrew Freeman finally said to hell with it. Cutting Williams leaves a roster spot for LA. They are 1 player shy of the 40-man limit. LA did add a pitcher yesterday, but that was a minor league pitcher. Ryan Brazier is a longtime reliever for Boston. We mentioned a few moments ago how USC football is loading up. USC basketball is already there. They are absolutely loaded, just straight up overflowing with talent. They added a late commitment in power forward Brandon Gardner from New York. He was called Mr. New York. In other words, the best player of the state. And that's a badge of honor when you consider the history of hoops out in that state. He's 6'8", 4-star level recruit, 21st ranked power forward in the country. Now, he was originally going to play for St. John's, but the Red Storm hired Rick Pitino, and Gardner didn't think he would fit with the new coach and his system. But take a moment, appreciate, if you're a Trojans fan, what Andy Enfield has done. You have leading scorer Boogie Ellis coming back, center Vince Iwuchukwu, the #1 recruit in the country in guard Isaiah Collier, Bronny James, remember him? What about DJ Rodman coming in? He's the son of a former NBA Hall of Famer as well, Dennis Rodman. Kobe Johnson was a starter last year. So Gardner might not even get a lot of playing time in this upcoming season, but he's still coming to USC. USC is just so stacked in basketball. The Clippers have solved their front office vacancies by promoting from within. Trent Redden did get the general manager job, and Mark Hughes, while he's an assistant GM, he's now the senior vice president. Redden and Hughes will both, Redden, I should say, replaces Michael Winger, who went to run Washington's WNBA, NBA, and G League teams. Redden and Hughes will directly report to team president Lawrence Frank. Now, there is still a job you can have with the Clippers, though. They lost assistant coach Cameron Hodges to Houston. Cam Hodges worked with the new Rockets coach Ime Udoka. Hodges is a bit of a shooting guru, so that can be painful for the Clippers next year. Douglas Costa, Chris Mavinga, and Mauricio Cuevas are all back practicing with the Galaxy from injuries real or, in Costa's case, probably imagined. All could play as soon as Wednesday when the Galaxy return to Real Salt Lake in the U.S. Open Cup quarterfinals. Everybody loves to be the first to predict the next big thing, right? All the scribes are doing that for the Rams draft class. There's a lot of them who love wide receiver Puka Nacua. Others are just enamored with defensive end Byron Young. We talked about Young yesterday, by the way. CBS Sports, however, is picking defensive tackle Kobe Turner. They like the third-round pick for his energy level. They call him a wide body, competitive, sneaky athletic. He created pressure on 10% of the snaps that he played with Wake Forest last year. So what we are seeing with the Rams at least is a trend. I'm not going to tell you which one is going to blow up for LA. We don't know that yet. We don't know. But the trend of the Rams draft was they picked players who don't take plays off, which is good. A lot of energy. But do they have NFL level talent? We don't know yet. Speaking of the Rams and defensive pressure, Leonard Floyd finally has a new home. He's heading to Buffalo because, let's be real, that worked out so well for the Bills last year when they took a pass rusher from LA. Huh? Chargers coach Brandon Staley said contract negotiations with quarterback Justin Herbert are ongoing. Yeah, no kidding. Thanks for the update. We knew. But I am starting to wonder if predictability is a good sign for an NFL camp. I bring that up because Pro Football Focus, they use these algorithms to rate players. They named the 3 best players on the Chargers roster. It's Herbert, Joey Bosa, and Derwin James. Wow, stunning. Had no idea. That is so surprising. It is a veritable kick to the nuts. Well done, Pro Football Focus. Thanks for telling us something we already knew. Alex Faust is a sad story to me. He's out as a play-by-play guy for King's television broadcasts. I just like the guy. I thought he did a damn fine job replacing the Bob Miller was amazing. I mean, I met Bob Miller. I love Bob Miller. Replacing Bob Miller is a challenge. Alex Faust was admirable doing that. Faust was there for 6 years, but at this moment, we don't even know where the hell Kings games are going to be broadcast on TV. We don't know. The time when regional cable sports networks were dominant has passed. There are dozens of athletic teams from leagues, whether it's baseball, hockey, basketball. They have no idea where their games are going to be broadcast next year. They're all scrambling, and therefore they don't have the money to pay for both a radio team and a TV team. So there's that. Best of luck, Mr. Faust. You were fantastic at your job. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Let me know if you actually think Kyrie Irving can pull LeBron. Let me know what you think about USC's recruiting, or if Bobby Miller is going to be in the show for good. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos, because we talk LA sports every day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Quien Corta El Queso production. Take care.